welcome to Sage's Retreat. This is episode 35 and another Back in Time special. Today we're peeking back to the year 2001 and the month is November. Why this year a month? No one knows. There was a film that piqued my interest. I just rolled with it. The month doesn't have to be the same month that we're in, but a different year. We don't have to do that. It doesn't really matter. I'm here with my old pal Nathan.
Hello.
Hi. So what we're looking at is 2001. What does it say to you? So if someone said to you, Nathan, 2001, what does your brain go, ugh, and it spits a memory out? What is it?
2001 was my teenage years. I was 15, 16.
A rebel.
I would have been very nearly 16 at this time. Of January, so it's like 3 months away. And I loved them years. They what made me into the person I am today. The music, the stupid films, the culture around at the time. That shaped me as the man you see today. So what you're saying is you wish you could go back and do it again properly? Yeah, I'd go back and I'd immerse myself fully into the culture rather than I was like a bit of an outsider on it. So, but we'll get into that when we start talking about the music. But,
yes. From our brief conversation before we started, I think that's definitely something we need to pick up on.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what we could do? We could probably jump into the music. We'll jump into the music first after my 2001, which was. Basically, I was a young father. I was what I would have been 21. My daughter was born, Amy was born 2000, so she was born in October, so she would nearly be 1. And I was, I would have been working, where would I have been working? I think I was working at the Old Spot in Daybrook. Anyone that knows the Nottingham area will know Daybrook, and the Old Spot was there for years, next to the I believe it was a Premier Inn. Oh God, it changed. I think it was a Premier Lodge at the time. I think they merged with Light Travel Inn or something. I don't know. I do not what. There was some sort of merger. They changed the name. So I worked at the Old Spot. It's called something else now. It like closed down and then it reopened. Well, I say it closed down for like a refurb, and then it reopened with a new name. And I'm always a bit disappointed about that. I think a pub, it's like it has does a pub have a personality? Maybe, but it's once you name, because often people know places by pubs. Oh, it's near the Old Spot, or if you just go past the Grosvenor, you might not know the road name that it's near, or even some of the shops, but often. Even kids will know the pub, you know. Oh, it's just near the Major Oak, which is a typical Nottingham pub name. It's up near the Major Oak. You second right, go down there. But if they called it something different, it's just gonna mess up your geography, isn't it? It's just gonna be like, oh, I don't know what to do. When I found out they changed it, I was like, ugh. They changed it to like Babbling Brook or it was something just like, what have you done? What have you done? But by all accounts, it's still fine. It's still running, still a relatively normal. I think it's a carvery. It was a carvery. I think it's a carvery again. And I was working there with a tiny little baby. Karina would have been like 18, 19. Crazy. I love looking back at my because years ago, people listening, we used to actually print photos off. So I've got this like massive box full of photos. It's like, if your house set on fire, you have to think of certain things that you'd rescue, wouldn't you? And I'd think my PC would be one. I'd unplug it. No, once the kids and the animals are safe, I'd be like, right, I'll just go and grab my PC. And then I'd grab this box that's on my wardrobe, and it's easily accessible. You just pull it off, and it's full of old photos. But if I could grab one thing, it would be that, just that. I think everyone's got something that has memories that they'd want to try and retain. But yeah, my old photo. Yeah, we used to print photos. It's that's the benefit of having film cameras. People are like, "Oh, digital's loads better." Yeah, for some things, but I mean, you can go out. You know, let's say you go to the seaside, off to Skeg or Mablethorpe or something, or wherever your local seaside is, and you take your film camera, and you'd maybe use 2 rolls of film. So you're looking at what?
60-ish.
Yeah, you'd either get the 24 rolls or the 36, wouldn't you? Every photo, yeah. So let's say we'll just say 60 photos, because you'd always lose. You never guarantee the first 2 photos, and never guarantee the last 2. That's like the rule. Everyone that everyone that sort of gives you a film to put in a camera says, "Look, take a couple first that are just of you or your dog or something, and then the rest will probably be fine." And then the last couple, when you're near the end, don't guarantee. There's no guarantee that you're gonna have them, and that that was the way to look at it. I did that. I assume you did that as well if you had a film camera. Yep. Excuse me. So once you've been seaside, you got your about 60 pictures. You take them down to. People will often say you take them down to your local Boots, but there was a few other. There was the Click store. There was a few others, or you could send them away. My uncle used to send them away to a company called TruePrint, and he put hundreds of films to TruePrint, and they would produce your photos from your negatives, and then they would also, I think it was like £1 extra or something. They would also send you a replacement film. And of course, it was like, oh, that's amazing. So it would cost you £4 to £5 or something. You'd have your photos, and then you'd put them in a box, and then you'd have them forever until you damaged them, maybe, or you lost them. And then digital comes, and there was a few. At the moment, digital's not too bad. I mean, if I take photos with I'll just talk about mobile phones, which have destroyed the camera market, by the way. Mobile phones and the pictures, I'll just show my debit card there. The mobile phones have destroyed the low-end camera market. So you used to be able to buy kids. Do you ever have like a little digital camera?
Yeah, I had an Olympus. I can remember Olympus.
Very popular brand. Olympus still make cameras now, I believe.
Yeah, but they were massive when I was younger, but you very rarely hear anything about them now. But
like a Breeze Block.
Yeah.
2 megapixel camera.
I had a 1.6 megapixel Olympus.
I remember my first digital camera. It would record video, but not audio. And I've got somewhere in my house, I've got saved a video clip of Amy when she was really small, but no audio. And it's the one of the only files, I'm not entirely sure where it is. I believe it's on a CD somewhere that I've kept and marked. I've got a big collection of like old CDs up there from my computer, but I don't actually have a CD driver. No, I have got one. It's not plugged in, and it's not been plugged in for, I could say 2 years easy. Just like we just don't use them that much anymore, do you?
No.
Digital photos. Technically, your phone's not too bad because you have things like iCloud. With Google, you have Google Photos. I actually pay like £1.20 or something for £1.50 maybe for a Google account, and all my photos get uploaded. And so if I was to lose, I've got, let's say if I've got 1,000, I can open it up now. I'll open my gallery. I've got 1,196 photos on my camera internal memory. Now, there's all sorts, from pictures of a cat. I could probably get rid of, I want to safely say 70% of these photos. There's all sorts, but then there's like odd little memories. Like I've just come across one here of Holly sitting on a chair, and Karina was sitting on a chair as well, and she's just like poking her, just like there's something in her hair or something. And it might not seem like anything, but that's the kind of photos that I like. That you can look back. Holly can look back. Oh, there's Mum, and that's me when I was little.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people with digital photos, they They pick and choose. This is an interesting topic to talk about. I think film versus digital. Film, you get all your photos. You go to take a picture and you go smile, and somebody doesn't smile. You've still got that picture. But with digital, you take a picture, and if you didn't like it, you delete it. And often it's those pictures that got deleted, which actually might be a lot better photos than the ones that you keep. It's a bit. I think it's an interesting topic. Maybe one for another. Maybe an analog versus digital would be an interesting subject to cover, because we can look at lots of things, can't we? Music, video, cameras, all sorts.
Right. There's a bit of a resurgence into with film, like the hipsters like it, but I still like film. I prefer film over digital. And not that I take any photos in film, but I like that you can keep it, that you've got that picture. I mean, I've got one here. I don't know if you can see it.
I can.
Polaroid, yeah.
Yeah.
We bought it with Olivia's birthday, 23rd of June, and we got a printer, and it prints these little mini Polaroids off, but from your phone. I'll have to show it you after, but it's not what you think it is, which is weird. It's like a sort of device that you put your phone on top of with the picture on the screen, and it sort of absorbs the light from your phone and then prints it out onto that.
So it's like scans it?
Yeah, it's like analog completely. There's no like electric, there's no batteries. I don't know how it does it, and then you've got a Polaroid picture.
You've messed me up. You need to explain that a bit more.
It is proper good. I mean, I would have liked it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure you would have. It was something that you would use as well. And I'm pretty sure it was only like 20 quid, if probably that, not even that. And I think the film's like, I think it's quite expensive. I think it's like a tenner for like.
That's the problem.
10 of these Polaroided.
That's your problem things. Right there. Polaroid's a brilliant idea. I have a Polaroid. I have a Polaroid camera, but I haven't bought film for it for a long time, just because it was expensive. But the idea of taking a picture and you just pull in this like weirdly layered sheet of something, giving it a shake, and then put
it on the armpit.
They had different instructions. Some of them keep in the dark or keep warm or just do, and it was like it would produce this picture, and it would be crap. It would be slightly blurry. It's not perfect. But you had it. There was a what do you call it? Like a crossover cameras. I've seen a few of them where it would be digital. It would save it to a memory card, but it would also print out a Polaroid as well if you wanted to print it out. Yeah. So if you liked it, you could print it, and you'd have like, I don't know, 10 pictures to print out or something. But yeah, 2001. How did we get onto house fires and the analog cameras? I don't know. What we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at the music. And you've got a link, Nathan. Now feel free to open it. Yeah. And the date, the specific date, the charts, UK top 40 chart, it will be November the 4th, 2001 specifically. I know they changed slightly different, but we're going to roll with this one to start with. First of all, I'm going to mention just straight for what was in position 1, and that's your favourite song.
Afro Man, because I got high.
Afro Man, because I got high.
Yeah, everybody remembers that. My age, anyway, they do.
Yeah, me. I think anyone that was alive at the time, over maybe the age of 5, will probably remember that song. Ridiculous song, drippy, dopey lyrics, and I think anyone that was stoned probably sung it thinking it was for them.
Yeah.
Nathan never. He was not. No, he doesn't even know what it is. Doesn't even know what it is. So, although we could go through these and play them and listen and remember them, I think it'd be fun to just look and see if there's any particular ones. So, if you look at that top 10, do any of them sort of speak to you?
Number 2 does. Rapture, IO. I love this song. The video's pretty good as well, and I think they've recently released it again, but like a sort of remix version, like they keep doing with stuff. I was massively into dance music and also rock music and punk music at this time, so that was one of my favourite songs of the time.
I'm sorry, but the rule is if you like rock music, you're not allowed to like dance music. That's the rule. I know this because I know someone that really likes rock music and dance music. He says he sometimes listens to the podcast and he says I like any music, but whenever you go to work, he's always listening to rock music. And I'm like, you don't like any music. You only like rock music because that's all you listen to. He's like, oh no, I like any music. No, you don't. So that's the rule, and that comes from him. That's the rule. But you're an exception.
Yeah, I live on the fringes of the music taste of this era, so I never got 100% into anything. I like any sort of music, but I like certain aspects. And when I was that age, it was definitely that sort of dance music, like Rapture and what was the DJ Sammy and what was the other one? Flip and Phil and stuff like that. I like all that. I know they were a bit before that, but I liked all that, and I also liked all the Linkin Park and the.
I think everyone liked Linkin Park. They were a true crossover, weren't they? They were that. Yeah. They were a true crossover group, going from the rock to like rap, but wrapping it up in this kind of like pop aesthetic that appealed to sort of everyone. Because obviously they were popular and they crossed genres and it hit the top 40 pop charts, which normally, like I say, full of fucking pop shit music. Alicia Keys is here, Falling. I got into kind of like R&B sort of hip hop, soul sort of music before 2001, but amazing. She did a concert recently. I think me and Karina watched it. It was such a beautiful singer. She seems like a nice person. You know, there's nothing bad about it. You know, you're like, yeah, she seems like a decent person. She's got singer, full package there. We've got Jennifer Lopez making an appeal. Number 6 on there. I feel like you need to mention that one.
We spoke briefly about this the other day, didn't we? I hate this song. This was a song. This is what's the other one? The Cha Cha Slide and Macarena.
I thought the thing is that the Macarena is a classic, and you can't kind of attack that too much. I don't think anyone will let you attack the Macarena. This one doesn't deserve.
No,
but I think some people of a certain age will think of it as a classic. Oh, it's amazing, but I'm like, no, it's like the cancer of the airwaves, isn't it? I mean, what would you like to introduce this song?
Yeah, this is Hey Baby by DJ Otis or Otis.
Otzi. I think it was Otzi.
Oh, is it Otzi?
Yeah.
This is how much I've tried to get it out of my mind, and immediately this brings in that stupid baby all the time, constantly. Yeah. And it's either a 5-year-old running around on a dance floor at a family party,
tripping over balloons and shit.
Yeah, kicking up balloons, running around, or it's a drunk uncle with a tie on his head singing this song. There's no in between. You're either a drunk uncle or a 5-year-old child.
I like to think maybe there'd be a gaggle of women with the handbags, possibly.
It depends how much Prosecco they've drank, or at the time Lamborghini.
Yeah. How many Bacardi Breezes they've slammed.
Yeah, how many Bacardi Breezes they've managed to get down them, and Archers and Lemonade.
Debating whether they like the watermelon one or not.
Yeah, while they dance around the handbag.
Kylie Minogue can't get you out of my head. A pop classic, if you ask me.
I quite like that at the time. I mean, I like the video for obvious reasons. And
freaking I was beautiful though, Kylie Minogue.
Yeah,
let's not
I was like 16 at the time, so
good. And yeah, I mean, she's like too old for you, like at that age, but she looked young, sort of fresh, and that was when she kind of came back, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if she won Bum of the Year or Rear of the Year or whatever they call it.
I'll give it the award. I mean, we've got a song by Five, Mystique, quite like Mystique. Natalie Imbruglia, she didn't have a lot. She had a massive hit in like '98. The one where she had that dragon T-shirt, she's walking around the apartment. I can't remember what it's called now. Torn. Good Lord, I do have like a memory about Torn, which I don't know if my wife is aware. There was a point where I went out with someone before my wife. Believe it or not, I actually had a girlfriend before I met my wife. It happens. It does happen, yeah. And I went around there one evening. Her parents were out. We would just like watch telly and have takeaway. And she knew how much I liked the song, and she'd actually bought the same outfit to wear. Like, as a sort of surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that she'd bought the outfit. I was just like, yeah, that's a nice top. She didn't even trigger the memory of the video. Like, and she said, it's the same outfit. I was like, oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh yeah, sorry. And she's like, I can't believe it. You just let me down. I was like, I just didn't. Sorry, I was just waiting for takeaway. And I think we watched. What did we watch? We might have watched Romeo Must Die. No, not Romeo Must Die. No, what's that? Romeo and Juliet.
The gun one.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Is it? What time? I need to find out when it came out. Sorry, I'm just on the internet. But yeah, the effort. I mean, I appreciate it more now. I think. When did it come out? We watched. Oh, it came out 96. So yeah, it could have very possibly been that we watched. Britney Spears there. She was kind of ready to fade out, I think, at that point. Gabrielle, Michael Jackson. Oh, yes. So jump to number 17, and you said that's the song that you like.
Yep, Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm. This was... everyone said I look like the main singer.
Yeah, sorry, I had to just... it was like to let that out then.
Yeah, the girl who's in one of the Missy Elliott videos is in this. That's the little bit of trivia I know about.
The little dancer girl.
Yeah, she's in this. She were all over at the time. I think she's a proper dancer now. I'm sure.
I do know she had a couple of tracks of her own now, but she's like all grown up and everything now. She's like a big person. Maybe it was 20 years ago. Yeah, she's a big person now.
But I loved Smooth Criminal. I weren't such a big fan of Movies, which were their other notable song. And I always have an argument with Ben actually about this because we always argue which song came out first. So if anyone wants to Google it, it's Smooth Criminal, but Ben says it's Movies. But
can't you just like? How would you have an argument when you've got the internet? You can just literally look it up.
You can't look at the internet. We can't look at the internet for this one. It just has to be one of those sort of arguments of you remember at the time, and I remember Smooth Criminal coming out first, and he remembers that.
That's fair enough. Limp Bizkit. Were you a Limp Bizkit fan there? That was a weird crossover sort of...
I were a Limp Bizkit fan. Rolling specifically, I can still do the rolling.
Rolling.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a Party Hard by Andrew WK as well, which I love. I had that song on the other day, actually. My kids love that song. These are all still songs that I play on my Spotify playlist as well, by the way.
We have Slipknot in here at 24. That might be a bit rocky for you, I imagine.
Yeah, I did like Slipknot, but not until a bit later. We're a bit too rocky. I was a goth at the time, but not a full goth, and I was also like a skater, but I didn't know how to skate properly. So I was like, that's
you weren't a skater boy. Avril Lavigne was not interested.
No, she said "see you later, boy" to me. So I did like Avril Lavigne as well. So
who didn't? She's like, she's a pretty little thing, aren't she? Everyone, that was the appeal of it, though, wasn't it? This slightly different image. Going further on down the line, what else we got? We got Uncle Kracker, Follow Me. That was a song that I remember being played a lot by a certain person as well. Mambo number 5, Bob the Builder. Oh. Moving on. What we got?
You've skipped one that I thought you were going to definitely pick up on.
Oh, sorry.
It seems like number 27.
Oh, Jarul.
Yeah.
I mean,
living it up.
I looked at
That's
it
exactly
and
how he sings.
I couldn't remember the track, and I just thought, oh my god, I'll just keep going. I was a fan of Jarul, but he wasn't like pick of the crop, was he, for sort of like that hip hop rap sort of music. Green Day's in there as well.
I do like Green Day.
Starlight. Yeah, Superman Lovers. That was a good track. We've got Gorillaz. I was never a big Gorillaz fan.
I still like Gorillaz to this day.
I think their quality, I get it. Never a big fan. Sum 41 there.
Top song.
Entrance, Set You Free. Love Me by Shaggy. I feel that's after he shouldn't have made any music after that. The first maybe 2 or 3 that he made. Blue are still in here. They've at 57. Blue. I think we're dragging we're going a bit out of the way now. So yeah, music from that era.
Right Said Fred, apparently.
What?
As well, 56. As if they went into 2001. I thought they died in like 1994.
Was it a re-release of the same song? Or?
I don't. You're My Mate it was called. I don't even remember that song.
You're my mate.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, he's just gay innuendo all over his songs.
Yeah.
Let's go on to films. Do you want to introduce the first one?
Yep. The first film, known over here because that's the proper name, is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and it was known as Sorcerer's Stone, obviously in America because they're idiots and they can't say philosophers. But yeah, we had that little gem, and I remember this one very fondly because I'd read the book back in year 7 at school, so that would have been like 97, and I enjoyed the book, and then I watched the film and I enjoyed the film even though I was like 15, 16.
It's a very good book. Very good book. I've read it. I've read like all of the Harry Potter books, like all of them twice, but I've read the first one I think like 3 times. Not recently. Like, I haven't read them recently, but you can't fault it. This film, it nailed it, didn't it? One of its reasons it was so popular, because there's a problem with if you get a book and you translate it over to a film, it can often fail because they change stuff, don't they? But one of the reasons this was popular is because it was very faithful, and it really did help, and it made a lot of money, didn't it?
A lot of money. We have a budget of 125 million, and it recouped 1 billion back, and an extra 7,000 on top of that. But that's chump change, isn't it? Really,
$1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion, and so they knew they were onto something. And that's just with first film. That's not including the book. That's not including the merchandise,
the subsequent films. Nothing.
Yeah,
it's just that one. Just that one.
This is why J.K. Rowling is the world's
richest biological entity. With the least effort. That's what it should be. Richest person by the least effort because she just wrote a book. Sorry, J.K. Rowling. I think your books are amazing. But yeah, I mean, the people do a lot of hard work to make a lot of money. She sat in like a greasy spoon cafe coffee shop, didn't she? While the daughter was at school and wrote a book. Amazing. Controversial with her tweets I've seen recently. But you know what? I don't give a shit. She can say whatever she wants. It doesn't affect me. And to be honest, it doesn't affect anyone. And if tiny little words on the internet hurt you, you need to sort your life out. Just going to throw that out there. Sorry if that offends anyone. But then again, like I just said, if little words offend you, sort your shit out.
I don't think it was that bad a tweet. I've reread it a couple of times and I'm like,
there's a few.
It makes sense. Oh, I'm thinking of the main.
We won't dip into the topic. But yeah, I think. I mean, you know, if you want to tweet something, you go ahead and tweet it. You know, you're always going to offend someone. It doesn't matter. I could say carrot cake's the best cake ever. Someone's just going to be like, "Oh, you what?" Next thing I know, my ass is going to be on fire. Harry, Ron, and of course Hermione Granger, featuring 2 of my favourite actors, I will say, Alan Rickman, John Hurt, but loads of others. The ones that I listed on here were just some, for me, outstanding, like Robbie Coltrane and Maggie Smith, absolutely amazing. And I think the casting was, it was mint. I don't think they could have done better. I will say, they needed a little bit more cultural mashup with the casting. I think it was predominantly white. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more of a percentage of non-white people. But that's been mentioned by a lot. And that was also controversial because they cast Hermione as there was a black lady cast as Hermione in the stage play, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what they do with it. I mean, I don't know. There was arguments saying that in the book she was never mentioned as being white. However, there was mention of brown hair and some other bits and bobs in there. There was mention of it clearly was pointing to us as being white, but it doesn't really matter, you know. It's fiction, you know. It doesn't. Who cares? And if you do care, sort of shit out. IMDb gave it 7.6 out of 10. That was 685,000 ratings on there. Rotten Tomatoes, 81% is certified fresh. Going on to another film, which it had its controversiality. Why did I even make up a word? It was controversial for other reasons. Shallow Hal made less money.
Yeah, it made a lot less money, like a tenth of what that made. Obviously controversial because it had Jack Black in it, and so not a lot of people like that. That's the main reason.
I'll go for the main controversy, shall I?
Yeah.
Good. Did you enjoy Shallow Hal?
I think I liked it at the time. I tried to rewatch it actually a couple of years ago, and I couldn't because it was crap.
I have an issue. I think there's a lot of films that are like, let's say 20 years old. Those kind of pop culture, popular people at the time. A lot of them films are crap. Like they were okay at the time, but kind of struggle with them now to really dive in and enjoy them. What can you tell me about the film? Can you remember?
Yeah, it's called Hal, and he's very shallow.
He is shallow. Yeah, he's a typical boy, isn't it? He's like yeah.
He loves beautiful things, even though it's Jack Black and he's not particularly good looking. And his mate in it, I can't remember who the actor is. It's him out of Seinfeld. They're both like really shallow and like take piss out of women who have anything. Well, like one of the things that he turns him off with this woman is that she's got a big middle toe or something, from what I can remember, and that's how shallow they are. She's perfect other than this toe, and he can't get over this.
Basically, if you're not Barbie, right? If you're not a supermodel, he wants nothing to do with you.
Yeah, that either of them deserved a supermodel in any way. Which is, I don't know if that would be like satirical or something, but that was the most unbelievable bit for me for the film. And then an hypnotist as a conversation with him.
Can you remember that positive speaker that Tony Summit, massive in America? Yeah. He's in it, and I hate him because I hate. It's like, oh my God, believe in yourself, and I'm like, no. It's like, no, I'm just getting on with it. It's fine. I don't need you. I don't need a motivational. I hate the motivational speakers. They really annoy me.
Yeah.
He hypnotizes him.
Yeah, he hypnotizes him to see the inner beauty, not the outer beauty, and then it's just a basic story of Jack Black falling in love with Gwyneth Paltrow, who is
stunning.
Big. Yeah, but she's little inside because she's beautiful on the inside, and then it's his mate sort of taking piss at him, like because he can't see that she's not good looking or something.
Yeah, so Jack Black's looking at Gwyneth Paltrow, and he can see Gwyneth Paltrow as we know her. She's thin, beautiful, blonde, whatever. But in reality, Gwyneth Paltrow, I think she's the daughter of his boss, something like this, and she's a very big girl, but like overly, like morbidly obese. That's how it's described when I read about it. Morbidly obese, just like, I don't want to say slob. I think she definitely sort of like looks after herself, but weight wise, it's gone right out the window. And he falls in love with her because he all he can see is her inner beauty, and he falls, which is the way it should be anyway in life. You should meet someone, you should like them, even if, well, it doesn't matter what they look. Obviously, it does matter, but what I'm saying is it's like you'd have to make friends at work with people that, look horrific. There's terrible looking human beings. So sorry. But what I'm saying is, because you're forced to be with them, you get to know them more. But in real life, you're walking through the street, you see someone that physically puts you off. That's it. You just keep walking, don't you? But yeah, so he falls in love with this beautiful Gwyneth Paltrow, this false image of what Gwyneth Paltrow is. But then his friend convinces this motivational speaker to unhypnotize him, dehypnotize him, and then he faces the reality of what he's been doing. And the funny story carries on from that, but they eventually end up, it's a rom-com ultimately. More com than rom, I believe. But ultimately they end up falling in love, and they accept everything. She doesn't. And first of all, she pushes back. She doesn't believe any of it, which I thought was quite good as well. And there was a funny bit at the end where Shallow Hal tries to pick her up to take her over the threshold of the house. I think they get like married or something, and he can't pick her up, so she picks him up, of course. Controversial because there's a lot to do with there's that fat acceptance movement where I don't even say bigger men, because it seems to be aimed more at women, to do with you're big and beautiful and you don't need to change. Let's just throw the health issues to the side. Let's throw the heart attacks and all the rest of it to the side. I mean, it isn't healthy to be big, but we all know that. But yeah, of course they're moaning about it. But good film. But it was sort of like a 50-50 situation with reviews. It only got 5.9 out of 10 on database. Rotten Tomatoes gave 49%, so not the best. Would you like the next film that we've got on the list?
Yeah, let's have Monsters Inc., shall we?
It's just dawned on me how much it made. I didn't realise it. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it worked. I can remember it being a big hit at the time. Even as an adult, I still quite like watching Monsters Inc. I mean, it's got a stellar cast. It's got a pretty solid story.
It's such a good film. It's so fun and colourful, and it doesn't miss a beat. I think it's perfect. I think it's a very sort of like a perfect film. Do your children, have they watched it?
Yeah. We watched the University prequel sequel thing.
Was there just two films? Was there two films?
Yeah, I think there's a series on at the minute actually on Disney Plus that's to do with this. I might be remembering that wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is. That's to do with their everyday life, getting up to stuff in power plant. But my kids love that film. We've got it on DVD actually. DVD, if you can remember that.
Check you, fancy DVD. Featuring John Goodman, great voice actor, great actor all round. Billy Crystal, or I'm not here or there on Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal doesn't like mean a lot to me. I think he was definitely massive in like the 80s, wasn't it, and like early 90s, but not so much later on. Steve Buscemi, because he's got a great face, and he's got a face made for radio, but he works very well in, of course, film as well. Great voice, and James Coburn, an older actor who. I grew up watching because of war films and like cowboy films and what have you with my grandparents. Not a lot of younger people probably know who he is. I do have a bit of trivia. The storyline took on many forms during production. Doctor, who it sounds like I'm saying doctor as in medical doctor, but it's ER at the end. I think he's one of the creators. His Doctor's original idea featured a 30-year-old man dealing with monsters that he drew in a book as a child, coming back to bother him as an adult. And I now want to see that film. I think that could be brilliant. Each monster represented a fear he had, and conquering those fears caused the monster to eventually disappear. I quite like that idea. After Doctor scrapped the initial concept of a 30-year-old terrified of monsters, he decided on a buddy story between a monster and a child, simply titled Monsters, in which the monster character of Sully, known at this stage as Johnson, I don't know why it made me laugh, was an up-and-comer at his workplace, where the company's purpose was to scare children. Of course, in the film, scaring children gave them this, like, filled up these, like, power banks or whatever it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Sully's eventual sidekick, Mike Wazowski, had not yet been added. Bill Murray was sort of like he auditioned for Sully and he wanted it, but there was some communication difficulties with Doctor, and he ended up thinking that he wasn't wanted, so we just walked away from the project. So we could have ended up with Bill Murray as opposed to John Goodman, which would have been probably fine, to be fair. There was a scene in that which actually scared Amy, my oldest. There's a bit where one of the monsters has a sock on it and it has to be shaved. Do you remember that? They put like a screen around it, and these like they come in like these little yellow biohazard suits so that it gets shaved. Hilarious. And that terrified her, and she wouldn't watch it.
2319. That's the code 2319.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's
that makes them share.
I love that. Oh, we need to mention as well, it made 577 million from a budget of 115. The last film I've got from this November, which, to be fair, the ones we've mentioned are the big ones, but Behind Enemy Lines, which is a generic American war film, 40 million budget, 92 million made. It is just a generic film. It's one of those ones where there's like, you know, those like Tom Clancy type films. There's loads. I like watching them, but then I never watch them again. Gene Hackman, but also Owen Wilson, who's more popular for like comedy roles, isn't he? Character sort of roles, but he's in that as well. 62% Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, no. The pro review score was 37%, but the actual audience score, so the people like me and you who could do reviews, it came out at 62. So people liked it more than the reviewers, which is often the case. Games. Jumping onto games. There's a list there. Any we'll list them all. But is there any of those particular that you like?
There are two that jump out to me straight away. There's all of them nearly because this was my prime gaming time. It's Halo Combat Evolved.
Yeah, these were like the bigger ones that came out in this month as well. There was actually quite a lot, but these were sort of like the main ones.
Yeah, I think they were all bangers around this time. I mean, probably not so much go back and play them now, but some of them you could. But like Halo, the first one, I had specifically bought an Xbox. Well, my brother did, but we specifically got it to play this and loved it, and that started my lifelong love with Halo.
That would have been the first Xbox as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I know you can't say Xbox One anymore because they brought out an Xbox One.
The OG. Yo, it's the OG Xbox.
The actual one that was a box that was that
like a car. Massive. It was like the size of a car, wasn't it? And the controller was even bigger. You had to have two people, I think, to use that controller. That's correct.
Well,
isn't it?
I used to use one analog stick with both hands like a steering wheel, and then the other one with my feet. So I worked it out to get it with that.
Just like lying on it and just moving. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like using a whole console in itself.
The original controller, I'm going to just to jump on it, I think was a horrendous design. It was horrible to hold. I never owned an original Xbox, but it was horrible to hold. But, funny enough, Microsoft now build the best controller. There are people that like the PlayStation ones, but the Xbox, now I have an Xbox One. Yeah, I have an Xbox One controller here. They are amazing. They are so nice to hold. It's like a glove. It's just so comfortable. This one's a Forza special limited edition one. It has like rubber grips on the back, which are still in very good condition. It's so nice. The button placement. Even I know people moan about this odd placement of. Sorry if you're not watching the video. This odd placement of control sticks here, but I think it's fine. You know, once you hold it, because you don't tend to hold it dead on, you tend to hold it slightly skewed. Don't know if you can sort of like one slightly lower than the other, but it works fine. But going from this to a PlayStation one, it's like I don't like the new PlayStation ones. The Xbox, I think the Xbox nailed it. Beautiful controller, beautiful. Yeah, that's me just pushing buttons on the controller now, just being like, oh my god, I love the aesthetic. That's so good. It's just so nice. So you're a big Halo player. I never really played Halo. Never really got into it.
I know, I tried to get you into it, but you just too much love for Call of Duty.
I don't know. I love to try all shooting games. But we played a bit, but then we didn't play anymore. I just think we fell off it. I don't know what happened with that. There was like, I think we started playing something else at the time. Metal Gear Solid 2 on there. Played a lot of that. Have you? Did you yourself? Did you play? Yeah.
I'm a massive Metal Gear Solid fan.
Okay.
I got the demo, which I played to death for the PlayStation 2. And there was a big massive twist in this one. You weren't actually Snake, you were only Snake for like the prologue, and then you switched to Raiden, which loads of people hated, but I quite like Raiden. I didn't find him too annoying. His hair were a bit swisher, and the scene with the part of the game where you lose your clothes but you can do sort of star jump flips while covering yourself is quite comical, and the walking on bird shit on the top of the oil things and slipping over give me my 15-year-old self endless hours of laughing at that.
It's good.
I did.
The Metal Gear Solid games were I don't want to say very original, but they did what they did exceptionally well. The stealth in the original Metal Gear Solid and going on to 2 was very good. And I'm still bitter that there's not a Tenchu that's been released, because Tenchu sort of like did it first, and then Metal Gear came along and sort of did it with guns. You know, it kind of came across a bit better. SSX Tricky was out. A lot of people like Tricky. I preferred SSX 3. Tricky was a bit more fun, a bit more colourful. SSX 3 felt a bit more like, it's like the Pro Edition. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know how you get your different racing games, you get like the arcade ones, and then I preferred 3. But yeah, Tricky, massively. Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 3. Never played a Tony Hawk game. I don't really want to.
I love Tony Hawks. They're very good. They are some of the funniest games you'll ever play.
I know they're good, but I enjoyed my snowboarding on SSX, and I never kind of wandered over to the skateboarding. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader, that was on GameCube.
I had that.
Trying to think if I had that. I'd have to double check whether I played it or even got it. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I do need to mention Burnout on PlayStation 2. Me and my wife, we played this a lot. Great racing game in general, but it had this mode called Crash, where you could race and then you'd have to try. So you'd have to do X amount of damage, or blow up so many cars and you get points. And we try and get the most points from that. Just really fun. Just a really good game. Arcade racing is at its finest. Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey. Did you play the Oddworld games?
Yeah, but not Munch's Odyssey. Right. I think that was the not very good one, if I remember right.
I played them a little bit, but not too much. Lego Racers, I have played that. It's just Mario with Lego. Cell Damage was a racing game where you used to basically blow each other up. Another good game. Did you want to mention anything about any of those games?
Burnout. I did quite play a lot of Burnout.
Oh, good.
But I think Paradise were 10 times better.
Well, the thing is, it was different. That's my issue. Is I don't think they're very good to compare. See, Burnout 1 was fine. Burnout 2 was very good. Burnout 3 also very good. But Burnout Paradise was just, they changed the formula. And for me, it wasn't better. For me, it was just different. I enjoyed the fact that with the original 3 Burnout games, that you were on a racetrack and you couldn't divert off. But with Paradise, it was like open world racing and crashing games. So it had that going for it. That didn't appeal to me as much as the other ones. So, but I get why people like it. It is very good. But I just preferred the original 3. But have you played a lot of Paradise?
Yeah, I played that one to death for the 360. The soundtrack on it is really good.
Take me down. I'm sick. But you get sick of hearing that, don't you?
Yeah, well, they had NERD, so I just used to have that on repeat. Almost Over Now, if you can remember that song. That was such a good song, and I was a pro. That's one of the only racing games that I actually like, because I like the mechanic of close calls. Like, you sort of, if you overtook someone, you got really close to them, and you sort of, I was really good at doing that. So it's really good.
That was
I like doing the big crashes.
Yeah, that was also in the other Burnouts, wasn't it? They closed, and it would build up your burnout meter, so you could then do like a big boost. And that was the best way. You'd be like going past the cars, and eventually it would fill up. Yeah, brilliant. So that's it for games on there. Looking at news, there wasn't a lot going off. It's a bit disappointing. I just pulled out these. Unfortunately, it was news-wise. It was just after sort of like 9/11, which was in the September. So it was all about everything in the Middle East was bad. America's a victim. I think America's a victim of itself most of the time, but it's America's a victim, and and let's invade these brown people that apparently did all this stuff to us. There was a lot of weird emotions around all of 9/11. Maybe we'll talk about it another time. Oh, maybe we'll have a conspiracy theory cast. But what we've got is George Harrison. You know who George Harrison is, don't you?
Of the Beatles fame.
Of the Beatles, yeah. He died. He was 58. He died of
not that old.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, he died of cancer. There was something about a heart pump. This is just really arbitrary. There was a heart pump aiding patients. Obviously, someone having an issue with the heart's a big issue to do with living. And they'd implanted this mechanical device, and it was assisting failing organs. It was basically on the way to full kind of like mechanical heart replacements. Astronomers study a distant planet, which we all like, staring into space. For the first time, a chemical analysis is made of atmosphere of a planet beyond the solar system. And it doesn't seem interesting, but I think that's quite big, isn't it? Being able to look beyond the solar system at planets.
It is. Do you know how they work that out?
No, but you're gonna tell me. Go for it.
Yes, because I did a degree in it. They work it out by light spectrometer. So light, it comes through at different colours and different spectrums, and you can tell what the atmosphere is made of whether there's like iron present, depending on what colour the light is. And like a little test is when you're at home, if you burn something, it burns in different colours, like phosphorus and iron and magnesium and stuff. And that's how they work it out from from faraway planets.
There we go.
Little science lesson for you there.
United States offered also a bounty for bin Laden. 25 million award for information leading to location or capture of Afghan terrorist leader. Did he do it? Well, that's for another episode.
Did anyone claim it?
I think they actually claimed it themselves. I think that's what I watched. I think they discovered all the information themselves. Sorry, what? Go on.
Yeah. Why? I never understand this with America. Putting like a bounty on him, like a reward. Who needs incentivizing for something like that? And then who is going to be that close to bin Laden that you would be able to give him up and be able to claim the money? And it seems like a stupid thing. It seems like something they do just for the sake of it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Nope.
But neither did all of the everything surrounding it. So we've got that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about our 2001 November covered. Yeah. I've enjoyed dipping down there, talking about music and photography. talking about film. I actually have a film camera downstairs. I need to finish it off and send. It's been there about a year. Been taking random pictures, so I'm going to get that sent off at some point and see what crap's on there. There'll be something. Yeah. There'll be something awesome.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us down this trip on memory lane. I hope you have as much fun as I did reliving all my teenage years. Let us know what age you were back in 2001 and what you were up to. Like I were getting drunk and smoking and being a little toe rag. That was my 2001. As always, I've been Nathan.
And I've been Lee.
And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.